Our first speaker is Arek. We could give a round of applause for Arek. So the stage is yours.
All right. Well, so basically, hello everyone. My name is Arek, and my wife and I, we run school and coffee shop. Well, basically, for those of you who do not speak Polish, who do not know Polish, it's a kind of pun, wordplay in our language. So basically, it means what will people say, what may people say, and on the other hand, it's a kind of reference to the famous TV series Keeping Up Appearances, which does not strictly, like, directly translate into Polish English, but basically the name means what will people say, what may people say. I came up with the name like this, which at the very beginning when I was opening the business was quite unique, because all other schools were like something lingo, or lingo something, or something lang, right? So everything had this language stuff. And this is quite uncommon, and I think it attracts attention. So basically today I'm going to talk about how to fuck up your business and learn some lessons, because we live and learn, right? So who I am and why. So I am basically, let me answer like that, I'm a chief everything officer, so I take care of all these matters, issues that are going on in the company. I'm senior syntax wizard, so that means I'm a senior teacher, and I deal with methodology, I come up with curricula, syllabi, and so on and so on. Senior flavor maestro, so that means that I'm the person responsible. My wife and I, we are the people responsible for the dishes that you can eat in our coffee shop. And I'm also a graphic designer, music producer, video editor, creative director, and roadmap planner. So as you can see, everything boils down to number one, chief everything officer. Producer, composer, artist, and manager. So this is how I started. Basically, when I was a teenager, I had my own record label, underground, of course. I was a DJ, I was an MC, rapper, and I was a musical producer. So the name Killer Dreams, that was the name of my first music label, and my room over there in the corner. I still have this equipment somewhere in the basement. When I have time, if I have time, sometime in the future, I'll still make use of it. Well, basically last year, because I was very into video and the YouTube stuff, I bought myself some professional headphones. That was Christmas last year, and they are still unpacked. So. First steps in management. So I learned a lot doing this kind of stuff. These are the records that we released, music that I composed. I'm also a self-taught musician, so I taught myself music. I was the first producer in Lublin who composed music, like by playing music, not sampling. So that record over there was quite groundbreaking, let's say. And what I learned plenty of lessons. Always sign a contract, always, no matter what, because when it's good for you, but when the things start to go south, you need to take out the contract. Yeah, so this is the most important lesson that I learned when I started running the music business, because basically you trust people, but every now and then people may do something behind your back, right? So that's why you need a contract, and the contract you need to, let's say, anticipate. You need to anticipate what may happen in the future, but you live and learn. So you learn these kind of things with your experience. You can always teach yourself nearly anything. So I taught myself how to design websites because I needed that. I needed to design a website for my music label. I taught myself how to compose music. I taught myself how to make music. I taught myself how to scratch, DJ, and so on and so on. And that knowledge that I gained when I used to produce music, that knowledge I used afterwards, like 15 years after, editing and mastering YouTube clips for my school. Which was quite a good experience. I hope I will get back to it one day when I find some more time. You never know when you may need the skills you've learned. So Having said that, I taught myself how to edit music, edit videos, which translated into the skill that I needed afterwards, because I didn't have to pay anyone. I could have done it by myself, and I wasn't sure whether this is the road I would like to choose, so I could try myself in it. Never like to trust other people. Speaking of the first hyphen, always sign a contract. The first serious business, I graduated from UMCS in 2010, and I got employed in one of the language schools, basically 2 language schools. But in the meantime I was trying to develop my one-on-one lessons business, let's say, which grew into the first group of 4 people, then it grew to the first group of 5 people and 6 people and 7 people and so on and so on. So the snowball started rolling. People enjoyed the lessons, so I took my wife's parents' basement and I opened the first school in the basement. There was just one room, it looked like that, so the door led straight outside, so it was damn cold in the winter. But then we figured something out with some curtains and it was okay. And as you can see, you can fit 8 people top, but the whiteboard was here, and I was standing here, and here were the students, so it was very direct contact, let's say. So this is how we started. Then we transformed it into something like that. After a few months of running the first classes, I managed to collect some money, and I started to develop that. I refurbished the room, and I used to teach like that for nearly 3.5 years. Another lesson learnt by myself was that you cannot kill too many birds with one stone. That doesn't actually pay off, and you can't be responsible for everything. I wanted my company, Intercane, because that was the name of the school, I wanted my company to deal with teaching French, teaching English, teaching German, Spanish, Russian, designing interiors, because my wife is an architect, developing software. I had no experience in it, but I just wanted to develop software, and translation, and of course graphic design, right? Which basically didn't turn out to be that successful. We never developed any app, we never designed any website. I just designed one poster for myself. We never had any Russian classes, we never had any French classes. We never had any Spanish classes. We had one German group and plenty of groups of English. So my lesson learned is focus on one thing only. The one thing that you are good at. Always spend money on your business first. I remember when I was a kid, maybe not a kid, I was a teenager, I read Men's Health. And in Men's Health it was written that first you need to spend money on your business, then spend money on yourself. Which is so damn true. Because when you spend the money on your business, you can grow. If you spend money on yourself, well, basically you just burn this money, right? So you don't invest. So always invest. You will have to work long hours, really long. So I used to get up at 5:30 because I used to start classes in Świdnik at 7 AM. Then I went to work. I used to work in an office, like part-time job. I finished at 3, and at 4:35 I started classes, which I finished at 9. So that was quite hectic. It's extraordinarily difficult to gain the first customers. It is. It is really difficult. Because when people don't know you, there is no word of mouth marketing. You just need to rely on your existing customers and hope they will recommend you to someone else. And please remember that that was in 2010, 2011. So Facebook was not that developed, not that common, particularly in Lublin. So yeah, you will have to invest. Don't count on immediate return on investment. Yes, the first money that I earned, I invested. I bought books, I bought dictionaries, I invested in marketing, meaning some Google ads, some first Facebook ads, first Facebook posts and so on. And also that was the thing that I also had to teach myself. I bought some books on how to SEO your website, how to design Google AdWords so that they would work, and so on. So you also need to spend time on developing yourself. Yeah, another thing, I didn't learn my lesson when the things with developing software and designing interiors failed. I decided that I want to design clothes. Well, basically, as you can guess, I had no experience in that. I don't even know how to stitch. I mean, I know how to stitch a button to my blazer, but that's the end of my sewing skills. So another lesson learned. I wanted to open a company called Lockstitch. There's a logo, and we wanted to design some grunge-like clothes, which you can see in pictures. The clothes failed, so I decided I will design leather bags. So that was another lesson learned, that I shouldn't deal with something that I had no experience with. I found a lady who made the clothes, who made the bags. Unfortunately, the ladies learned on their mistakes as well. So we had to make like 10 different sweatshirts, and none of them was the one that we wanted to have. With the bag, it was a little bit easier, a little bit smoother, let's say, because the lady, that's the second bag that she produced, that she made. And basically here what I learned. What I learned in the process of designing the bags and looking for the contractors and subcontractors and the source providers, the raw materials providers, we had some trips to Łódź and we bought some leather and so on and so on. So I learned how to scour the internet for finding this kind of stuff. So now I know, you'll see in a while, because we are still into this fashion business, a little bit like one toe in the fashion business. So now I know where to go and what to do in order to achieve what I want. Right? So the money was wasted, but maybe not 100% of the money, because you can't buy your experience for money. Right. And other luggage tags. So the bags didn't go that well, so we decided that we will come up with something, some fashion accessory. And these were the leather bags. They were provided with some kind of steel sheet, and we engraved whatever you wanted on the steel sheet. Lessons learned. Do not start doing something you have no idea about, ever. You may learn some lessons, but they may cost you a lot. Do not overestimate your skills or yourself. So I overestimated myself because I believed that I can do a lot of things. I can do this kind of stuff. I can do design, which basically it turned out that I cannot. When you start another business, never let your primary source of income dry out. Never. I did that. And then it resulted in myself having to emigrate from Poland, but that will be in a while. Let's grow. New premises. So at some point when the school was developing, when school was growing, we were getting more and more students. We decided to look for some new premises because the basement turned out to be too small. So we rented 2 classrooms at Leszczyńskiego Street, so where we are now. It looked like that at the very beginning when we took it. So my wife, when she entered these rooms, was like, holy crap, do you want to build anything here? And I said, yeah, I want. And we did. In 2013, it looked like that. That's that room, right? So we transformed the classrooms and we were waiting for customers. And we were waiting, and September came, and October came, and we were still waiting. So I don't know why, honestly speaking, I don't know how it happened that we had approximately 50 to 60 students in the basement. But when we rented the new premises, the number dropped to 25 or 30ish, something like that. And it was really difficult to even pay the rent for the school. Further lessons learned. Always see the worst coming. Always anticipate the worst. Never think, oh, it's going to be fine. Because it may be, but it may be not. Always have a safety rope. So always have something like plan B. Never let your attitude gravitate towards positive anticipation. So read point 1. Always see the worst coming. Always be ready for the worst and have plan B. Read point 1. And don't focus your competitive advantage on low prices, because I observed that some schools offered courses for, let's say, 800 zlotys. So I wanted to be competitive, so I started offering courses for 600 zlotys, right, per semester. But after a few years, I realized that what people might have thought, it was that, oh, the price is lower, so the quality must be lower. So value your skills. So I had to go to England, look for a better life, and I started my work in Amazon. I worked here. When I was there last week, and I was passing the building, I think they moved and they changed the office. So my desk is no longer there. But it was in March. And I was, you called it internet fraud investigator, which sounded really fancy schmancy, but the job involved just comparing customer behaviors. But I learned a lot in Amazon. I learned a lot about customer service. I can't remember what. I learned about customer service that you have to be very proactive in terms of customers. So you have to be you are the face of your company. So at some point you have to go towards the customer and decide for their benefit. Give them some benefit of the doubt. This is what I learned in London. You always have to act so that the customer would feel, let's say, pampered. So that people, it's not enough to be good. You have to be extraordinary. You have to be awesome. You have to be fantastic. Stubborn as a mule. So, well, I decided to come back to Poland, to give one more chance for the school, because I didn't leave the premises. I kept one teacher who took over my classes. I paid him the money that I earned in London. I paid the money that I earned in London to keep the school, to keep the rent, to let the rent, not to let the rent terminate. And on that couch over there, in that coffee shop in Timber Yard, I came up with the idea for the school. A new school. I decided to rebrand, to go 2 steps back, to delete my Facebook profile, to delete the website, to delete everything, repaint the school, redevelop the brand image, come up with a new name, and base the school on something else, something that hadn't existed before. So the school that would teach only British English and only British culture. And we try to stick to this idea, although we do have some native speakers from America, but we also have most of our native speakers are from Great Britain. So this is where the name Soldier Peso was created, and the whole idea and the color, the branding color. I also decided for the mint color, as you can see, this one, because no other school has this. Sorry?
I'm really happy that you decided this color.
Really?
I like it.
Yeah, see? So it works. Yeah, further lessons learned. Advertising isn't all about billboards and leaflets. So when I used to run Intercane School, it was, I put some posters around the city, I distributed leaflets, I stuck leaflets behind the, what do you call it? The wipes in the car, which really pissed people off. No wonder it did, it pisses me off now. Instead of focusing your business on earning money, focusing on doing something for others. I know it sounds weird. You run business to make money, right? Yes, you do. But money will come if you have a good idea. If people see the spark in your eye, they will come, they will join you and they will follow you. Solve people's problems and basically do awesome things. So we were the first school that organized cultural events in Lublin. No other school before us had done that. So it's our long-standing tradition that every November we organize a big British breakfast. So we basically invite people from Lublin, and they can prepare the traditional full English breakfast and learn some idioms about food. Then it developed into events such as pancakes versus crepes with a French teacher, when students fried either pancake, one group fried pancakes, the other group fried crepes, and they learned French borrowings in English, like genre. Don't base your competitive advantage on low prices. So like I said before, base it on being extraordinary. So you need to come up with an idea that nobody has come up with before you. Further lessons learned. Don't follow your direct competitor's suit. Be original. That's why I deleted my Facebook profile from of the old company, because I inspired the present Facebook fan page. I got inspired by fashion labels from London. So I followed plenty of fashion labels from London, and I wanted to have my fan page of my language school to be like their fan pages. Don't be afraid to experiment. People may not understand you at first, but will love you in the end. We developed our own teaching method. I'll talk about it in a few seconds. When I told my friends with whom I was supposed to cooperate, friends from another city, that I have this great idea, and he said, "Where have you seen it?" I said, "Nowhere. It's something new. Nobody has done it before. That's going to fail." It hasn't. On the contrary. Never let the thought nobody has done it before cloud your judgment and your dreams. You should try it. If you feel that something is going to work out, try it. However, at the same time, don't forget not to let your primary source of income to dry out. Be as customer oriented as you can. So that's what I learned in working in Amazon. Always smile at people. It will pay off twice. It really does. And this is something that I missed when I came back from England, when I came back here, that people just look at you and they don't smile. If you commute by underground in London, you can just stare at someone and somebody will smile at you, will smile at this person, you can start chatting. Unlike here. So, that's the rebranded version of the school. As you can see, we changed the color, we added some shade and jeez, I missed the word. All these cuddly things like the pillows and some flowers and so on. That's my wife. And we came up with this own teaching, with our own teaching method, which is called memo cards. And memo cards, when I was running my previous school in 2012, back in 2012, because the first one was in 2010, so that was like 2 years after that. When I was running my school, I wanted to teach people as many words as I can. Like the books were divided into some topics, and the topic was about food, or about health, or about whatever, traveling, right? But the books provided you with 5 to 10 words or phrases top. But that was too little for people to learn how to communicate. We wanted to base our school 90% on teaching communication skills, so conversations. That's why you've got these beanbags over there. You need to feel leaned back, relaxed, because that's how you're going to learn much better. So basically, I wanted someone to draw the words for me. So to draw some associations, I wanted to get into memorizing techniques. However, nobody in Lublin wanted to do that for me, because some people said it was difficult, some people just didn't call me back, and so I decided, okay, nobody wants to do it for me, I will do it myself. I will teach myself how to remember words quicker. And my wife was very helpful here, because in high school she attended some quick memorization lessons or workshops, 5 or something. And that proved to be really helpful, because it provided the foundation for the method. So basically, as you can see, the word generous, right? Generous means the one that gives you money. So we've got general, which we associate with gener, and we've got 3 wasps in Polish osy, so generous, right? Explain. So the guy is trying to explain his ex-girlfriend not to fight by plane with a new boyfriend. It's not what you think. Right? Ex-girlfriend by plane. Explain. There is no reception for my phone. So the guy says there is no reception for his phone, and this is the reception room, or the reception desk in a hotel. Reception. To be fired. So I think that doesn't need an explanation, right? That is fired. And in that way, now we've got nearly 3,000 pictures, nearly 3,000 words that we came up with, mainly my wife and I. And that makes learning much easier. After one lesson, students can remember up to 40, 50 words, like that.
3,000.
Huh?
3,000.
3,000, yeah.
Right. Oh.
3,000 pictures. So basically what it looks like. I write down the association that comes to my mind, what I associate the picture with, and I send it to the graphic designer, and the graphic designer draws from my explanation, from my description, and this is what comes up. This is the result. Yeah, so as you can see, we eat pizza in our lessons, we walk and talk, we have some QR codes that students have to scan and discuss the questions hidden behind the barcodes. They sit like that in our classes, so unlike in a traditional school, we use realia, so objects of everyday use like a camera or lipstick and so on and so on to come up with some lesson scenarios, because our school is based on conversations and storytelling. So we teach people how to speak. Yeah, we also have a few groups for kids. Full English breakfast, the one that I told you about. We every year invite a coffee shop from Lublin. Here you've got Cup. So the coffee shop just brews coffee for the participants. Everything is for free. Students can cook themselves. At the very beginning, that was my wife and I who cooked, who made the breakfast. But then we decided to give students that duty. The party in the backyard, so we fry pancakes, eat scones, traditional British scones. So we try to teach people that British culture is not only about beans and sausages and Big Ben, right? It's also about some other great things. And last year we took it to higher level, which you will see in a second. Become the master of translation, and interpretation. So we organized some workshops in interpretation cabins at UMCS. Become the master of bagpipes, so students can learn how to play the bagpipes. There is a teacher. These were the workshops with Panu Francuskiego. Maybe those of you who learn French know him from Instagram. Jacek. He is an Instagram teacher of French, so students could learn by eating pancakes and crepes. They could learn some French borrowings in English. Zimbabwean brunch, making our students familiar with the culture of former British colonies, former British heritage. Barbecue and swear words, so basically the students brought some alcohol, we gave them some sausages, and we taught them how to swear in English. So we organize some trips to London. We always go to stand-up comedy, so that's to make it closer to people, this English culture. And we have a project like a book or a coffee, książka ciekawa. Don't choose, just take both. So in some coffee shops in Lublin you can find the crates with books. You can take the book, read it at home, bring it back. It's in English, of course. And last year we opened a coffee shop, so we took the promotion of British heritage and British culture to a higher level. So we opened a cafe, we sell things like this, you can see. We organize also some workshops, cuppings, you can try out coffee, you can try out tea. There are some workshops with pet behaviorists as well. And the problems we want to solve. So we want to change people's attitude towards learning languages. If it can be a lot of fun, but still no language can be learned without commitment. So if you think that you will come to our lessons and you will just know everything after 3 meetings like that, no, unfortunately not. You will have to learn at home, but these memo cards that we developed that will make it easier for you. Convince students that memo techniques work. 80% of students that come to our school, they think, oh no, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not gonna help me. I don't have talent for learning languages. But after 2 months, they change their minds. After a year, they say, I can't really imagine learning a language without mnemotechnics. Expand into new areas of business which will help us grow a committed community, not only a group of students. So plenty of our students become our friends, very close friends. Even if they leave Poland, even if they leave Lublin, they still come back to us. They drop in for tea, for coffee, to have a chat. We are on Instagram, they are on Facebook, we talk to each other. So we want to create a kind of community around the school. Help people overcome their anxiety towards speaking in foreign language by providing support and friendly atmosphere. So like you've seen in the pictures, the beanbags, the sofas, and all this kind of comfy design that is supposed to encourage you to speak. and we also want to get into lifestyle. So we designed our own perfumes, which are called the Scent of Knowledge. However, now there is recent legal regulations made it more difficult to sell perfumes. So we need to think how to come up with, how to maybe not overcome, but how to